Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with one of my last Italian films. I've been doing them for a while now. Sort of a reason why I've been putting this one off till towards the end. That is Lucio Fulci's The Black Cat. I gotta say, this is, from what I've seen, his worst film. My least favorite. I mean, does Fulci make particularly great films? No. Except, The Beyond is really good. I really like Zombie, City of the Living Dead. But, I mean, other than that, he makes enjoyable films. Like, he makes entertaining ones. This is neither really a good movie, or is it really that entertaining. It's loosely based on Edgar Allen Poe's story of the same name. In fact, during the opening credits, it says freely adapted, so it's like it's his own story almost. I haven't read the story since I was a young kid, so I don't really remember it much. I have it down here somewhere. Came out in 1981. The only cool thing about it is that it stars Patrick Magee, who played the author Frank in Clockwork Orange. But that's about it. I mean, this was sort of during, because Fulci made a lot of movies in the like 1980, 81, 82, that area. This was right in the middle in 81. It's not particularly gory or really that violent. It's mostly just boring. It's boring, not much of a story. It didn't really grab me at all. You pretty much just have this guy, Robert Miles, played by either Robert or Roger. I already don't even remember. I started watching this the other night, and it was getting late, and I just went to bed. I just finished watching it. I watched 2 movies in between. I did buy this and watch it probably 6 or 7 years ago, back when I was buying a bunch of Italian films. I thought it was boring then. I hadn't watched it since. It tries to build atmosphere, it tries to be creepy, but it fails. So yeah, Robert Miles, or Roger Miles, whichever. He's played by Patrick Magee. He's like this, I think he used to be like a professor or something. Now he's a medium. Talks to the dead. He's sort of the town loony. It takes place in a small village in England somewhere. And he's kind of reclusive in this big house, and he has this reputation because he goes to the cemetery and with like recording devices and tries to talk to the dead. And everyone just thinks he's nuts. And he's ostracized and doesn't really care much for people. I mean, the movie opens up with the guy driving down a road. This black cat is in his back seat, and they try to make it look like this cat has this entrancing gaze. And I mean, this part's cool. The guy is in a trance, and he crashes into a lamppost, sort of goes through the windshield, and dies. And the black cat is Patrick Magee's. And it's just a series of murders around the town. There's a Scotland Yard agent getting involved. And then there's this blonde lady who's a tourist. She's a photographer. She gets involved with the investigation and gets to know Miles himself. And it all leads up to a climax that's not even that exciting. I mean, even the deaths amongst the town people. I mean, there's a young couple who take a boat to this place. They go inside this room. It's like in this boathouse or whatever to like have sex, and the the cat goes through like the air conditioner, takes the key because the boyfriend locked it from the inside so they can be alone. And then you see them a little while later, and they have like foam coming out of their mouth because the room ran out of oxygen. I don't know how plausible that is. I mean, I don't even remember where the room was. Like, it kind of looked like a cellar. And then, like, the girl's mother, she, we see some of her, like, when she finds out, they find where they are. She's in her bedroom, and this scene, they try to make it creepy, but I already saw this in Suspiria, and it was done way creepier. She's laying in bed, and she sees two yellow glowing eyes, and it doesn't look like cat eyes. It did in Suspiria, and it wasn't supposed to be. It was way scarier in Suspiria. The one little quick shot in Inferno also did it, and it was way creepier. Then the cat, like, jumps on a lamp, and it breaks near the fireplace, and the whole house catches on fire, and she burns to death. This other guy, who's the town drunk, is walking around, goes to this abandoned building, and cat lunges at him, and he falls off onto some rebar. And, like the photographer woman sort of thinks the cat might be responsible. Then the agents think she's crazy. But then she goes to Miles' house and finds recordings of him talking to the dead. Find something about hears people screaming or whatever, and then thinks he's responsible. I don't know. There's this weird scene where he's talking to her about his cat, and he says, like, he hates me, he'll try to kill me, and there's nothing I can do about it. And, I mean, Patrick Magee is good at playing crazy. I mean, just watch Clockwork Orange. Kubrick had him go way over the top in that. But just, you don't really get the relationship between him and the cat. Or at least I didn't. And it's almost like Patrick Magee can have, because it's like he's putting her in a trance the same way. But by the end, whatever shit happens, well, then he tries to kill the cat. You get this incredibly long shot where, he puts this powder in the cat food, and it literally shows him walking all over the house, all through stairs, through halls. There's like a big library, but he's like way back here walking around. Goes all the way down to where the cat stays. Feeds it. Then when the cat's all doped up, he hangs it, and you see it in silhouette. Then when the cat gets hanged, the photographer's in bed at her place, and like the windows burst and everything's flying around going crazy. She sees the silhouette on her wall of the cat. Patrick Magee is like in his cellar or whatever. Hears like a cat meow, and he drops the candle. Flames go everywhere, and when he puts it, he sees the silhouette on his wall. Drops the candle, and when he puts the flames out, I thought this was kind of cool. The wall is all black from the flames and the smoke, except for the outline of the cat with the noose, which keeps showing. It's actually the freeze frame on the end credits. And then, I don't remember why, but, like, I guess the photographer finds out he's partly responsible, because I guess the cat, even though it's this evil entity, picked up on his hatred for the townspeople and was acting out on that. Like, that's the reason why I was going around killing people. So he, like, he's like walling her off in the cellar. He like knocked her out, which first she tried running away, and she came into this area in the cellar where she's attacked by bats, which all bats in Fulci films look fake, but they look fake as fuck in this. Like, the bats look terrible. So she comes back around, he knocks her out, and he's like walling her off. Like, he cementing bricks and encasing her in with the cat. And I'm just like, he must have knocked her out really well. And he's not even like, he's just putting like globs of cement. It's just like, and then you get the shot of like, you know, little cracks of light where she is, and you hear him like patching it up. And I'm like, oh, so more oxygen's gonna get cut off. And then when the cops come, there's like obviously it's a person going meow. Like, for the audio, it doesn't sound like a cat. They hear it. And it's just like, oh, so now it's like Telltale Heart, but in reverse and done in a very bad way. Telltale Heart, also by Edgar Allan Poe, is my favorite short story. So they follow it. They break down the wall. The cat jumps out. And, you know, Patrick Magee doesn't even... You know, the cat, like, struts towards him. And he's just like, no, no. And it's like, I didn't want to kill, but I had no choice, controlled by this beast. And then it just like zooms in on his face, and then you see a shot of the cat's eyes. Then you get the score, which the score doesn't really fit either. It sounds like a typical Italian horror movie score, but I don't know, I know I've heard it before somewhere. I just can't remember where. And you just get shots of the cat being a cat. Yeah, not much to this movie at all. I would say it's a Fulci film I don't like. And I mean, there's a 1934 film called The Black Cat, which is actually based on the Poe story, starring Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff. Like, that's a recipe for greatness. Edgar Allan Poe, Karloff, and Lugosi. Fulci, I think, just took maybe the foundation of the story and sort of tried to create his own thing. But it feels amateur. How pretentious of it. How pretentious of me to say that. Guy who's never made a movie. Just, it feels like it's trying too hard to do something it can't. Like, you get the feeling it's trying too hard to be creepy and scary and spooky. But, I don't know. Fulci should just stick to just fun horror movies like Zombie or like City of the Living Dead. If he this wasn't his cup of tea, and it showed. There was no real interesting shots or camera work, or, you know, I could see Argento doing something like this. Argento could find a way to make this work. Fulci, not so much. And I really like Lucio Fulci. But yeah, Black Cat, I did not think it was a good movie. I can't really recommend it. I thought it was very boring. Lacked atmosphere, lacked being creepy, and I just didn't think it worked out at all. But from Room 237, that's my poor review of The Black Cat. Thank you.